We had a little cold front come through last night, and it's actually pleasant and cool in the shop today, so I thought we would crank the forge up and do a little forge welding. Welcome back to Black Bear Forge and the Hook of the Week. So for today's hook, I envisioned another form of double hook. Most of the double hooks we've done have a hook on the top and a hook on the bottom. This one I'm going to do two hooks on the bottom, one high, one low, just as a little bit of change of pace and something different that we haven't looked at previously. To do that, I will taper both ends of the bar. I will nick it about a third of the way down, fold it over. That's where the forge weld will be. We'll forge weld the top. Then we'll roll up the two hooks on the parts that we tapered out previously. Really sounds like a pretty simple hook, except for the forge weld. But forge welding is one of those things you should embrace as a basic skill. So this is really good practice. You don't have to have two separate pieces that you try and bring together. The pieces will still be attached and really easy to control in the fire. Good forge welding practice. The material I'm starting with is a piece of 1/4 by 1/2, so that's roughly 6 mil by 13 mil. And it is 15 inches long, which is about 380 millimeters long. You could do the same concept with just about anything. I thought about making it really big so you could hold cords or chains or something like that on it, but I decided to do it in a little bit smaller form that might see some use in the house somewhere. So it's time to light the forge and get started. Let's start just by drawing out a simple taper. I'm going to go ahead and let that flare out a little bit. Just really liking that style of hook end lately. Next year I'll probably do something different. I'm just going to lightly bevel that while we're here, just knocking the sharp corners off. Then we'll turn it around and we'll do exactly the same thing to the other end. So that's my prep work, and I think about a third is what I want to try here. So that's 17 inches. Would have been nice if it was 18, easier to do a third, but there will be my 1/3 mark. And I just want to put a little nick in it with the Hardy so I can find that again. And I'm going to cut about halfway through. That makes it easy to get this bend here. I'm going to go ahead and put some flux in there. This is Iron Mountain flux. It's one that I'm using currently. Easy weld or even plain borax will work just fine. Make sure that's good and even so when you bring it out to weld it, everything is parallel to start with. And we're going to bring it up to welding heat and just weld back here and start drawing that out and let it flare similarly to these ends. I'm letting the forge run instead of turning it off like I usually do for the videos, just to make sure I have a good welding heat. And I'm welding with a smaller hammer so I get light, rapid blows to get that weld to set. Now that it's set and I'm pretty sure it's welded all it needs to be, I'll switch back to my heavier hammer and we'll just refine that in. But I'm going to do that at welding heat. I didn't flux the second time because I probably don't need it a second time. And this should pretty much finish that end. Then maybe we'll punch some holes, then roll the hooks up, and it'll pretty well be done at that point. Go ahead and shut that off. And I only do that for the videos. I wouldn't do that in normal work. It just makes it a little easier for you guys to hear what's going on. I think I'll punch one more hole down about here, then we can shape the hooks. Nothing wrong with drilling the holes if you'd rather drill the holes. And sometimes after you punch them, you still need to run a drill through them just to round them back up or clean up any rough spots. This one's a little bit off center. I may try and file it larger to that direction or just not worry about it, but we'll see. And how about a touch mark? I think I'll put it up here between the two screw holes. I'm going to start by rolling this away from the hook side just to give a nice transition point there. We can refine that in just a little bit in our hook jig if we want to. That's pretty much exactly what I'm after there. And now we'll do the same to the other hook. I think first we'll straighten this out a little bit. Not going to get any easier than it is now. That's better. Do the same thing to the other end. And just make sure everything's straightened out there. And that is pretty much our hook of the week. I think I may take a look back in here, and that bulged out a little bit more on this side. I may file that down just a little bit. just to even it out and may see what I can do to that upper hole to make it look better. I'm a little disappointed in the way that came out, but not going to keep the hook from hanging on the wall, that's for sure. Now, do you really need to file this to clean those edges up? No, you really don't. But with just a little bit of extra work, you can take some of the crudeness, some of the irregularities out of a piece and make it just a little bit more special. Well, here's our hook/forge welding exercise. Very simple forge weld. If it isn't perfect, if it isn't the most solid thing, it's probably still going to do its purpose as long as it doesn't start to split and come apart in this thinnest section up here. But if it's not fully welded as it gets down into the full thickness area here, the hook is still going to do its job, so it's not that big a deal. So this kind of a weld where you fold the material back on itself and weld it together is an excellent first forge welding exercise. And here's the close-up of the hook here. I'll do some better close-up pictures when we get to the end of the video like I always do, but this ended up 9.5 inches long overall, and there's about 5.5 inches between the hooks. Now to fix this hole that was off center, I pushed it over a little bit to one side and then drilled it out to make it round again. And that left me with a 5/16 hole to get that to line up. So I'll include 5/16 square-headed lag bolts with this. Probably a little shorter than this one that I've got in my hand here, but in any case, that will make a nice mounting for this. It'll be good and solid. 5/16 is certainly overkill, but it's not going to look bad with the hook. And I really felt like trying to get that hole centered again was more important than what size screw or bolt was included with it. So that's just another way to use some material that might have been destined for the scrap bin. I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button down there. Feel free to stick around, watch a few of the other videos, share the videos with your friends. If you haven't done so already, ring that little bell down there next to the subscribe button, and then you'll be notified when I make new videos. Some people have said they aren't getting the notifications like they should be, so check your YouTube notifications. There's nothing I can do about that on my end. It's something in your notifications, or it's just a temporary glitch on YouTube's part, which is very likely. Anyways, I hope you have time in your day to get out to your shop, make something, stay safe, wear your safety glasses. We'll see you for the next one.